Hey everyone, I've been getting a lot of comments about drifting and how to drift, and it's a little bit harder in this game. But I'm gonna give you some of the tips and tricks, little tuning tweaks you can make with your cars to get it to drift more comfortably. And first things first, we're gonna get into some tuning. I'm gonna break down what I do, why it helps the car, what is the purpose of each tune and tweak that I do to the car. All right, let's get into it. All right. First things first, I recommend running a C3 to C4 car just so you have a good bit of power to mess with. Don't go too high, too crazy with the power, as it'll get a lot harder with throttle control to maintain the car. All right. So, first things first, with wheels, you always want to go with some stretched wheels. That'll give you a lot less grip, which is important when drifting, sliding around, everything like that. Spacers, I always want the front spacers to be the front to be wider than the rear, so that my front has a little bit more control, a little bit more stability while sliding. Gives me a better turning angle as well. Allows me to get a larger angle and maintain that drift. Make sure that you put your front and rear tire pressure at max. You see, I adjusted the front wheel offset a little bit more, but just from driving and stuff, I noticed that I needed a little bit more width in the front, a little bit more stability while sideways. All right, get into suspension. For suspension, it doesn't really matter what you upgrade. I do recommend running Ultimate or Elite parts just so you can at least get the same tuning setup that I have. For braking force, I'm just gonna go all the way to the bottom. It's important to have that all the way up for stopping power. Definitely add a little bit of front bias. Right now I'm running a 70 front bias. This will allow you to keep your car sideways and will apply less pressure to the brakes in the rear, which will straighten you up. So the more front bias you have, the more control while sideways you will have with slowing down, braking, and everything. The more, if you end up having a little bit of rear bias, you'll find that the car will just immediately straighten up. Whereas with this, it's mainly just the front tires slowing the car down. I don't go too much because then it's just it. You'll end up breaking loose on the front tires, locking up the front brakes. Not a good time. For steering angle, max that sucker out. We want to be full sideways. For Ackerman angle, I recommend running less than 50. Definitely want to run less than 50. Find what you like. Find what works best for the car. Caster angle, I just did 13.6 for it. Gives you a little bit of active camber. So while turning your wheels, you'll get a little extra camber. It'll help with turn speeds. It will help with the centering of your wheels. While you're on the wheel, you want this to be as snappy as possible, as quick as possible while the weight's shifting with the car. And for the most part, I left everything pretty stock with the front suspension. Rear springs, I did a slight, I think one tick. Literally one tick for spring length in the rear. Spring stiffness, I bumped up plus 22 to be 103. This is just to give a little bit less grip in the rear, but not too much. Rear anti-roll bars, I definitely stiffened those up a lot. I don't want a lot of body roll in the back. I want both my wheels to be making contact with the road. I want them both to be spinning. And I also decrease the camber in the rear. Gives me a little bit more forward grip, help push me through the corners a little bit better. Another thing is, I put my final drive pretty high. I wanted to be able to bang through the gears, get as much power down as quickly as possible. You're not really tuning for grip with the transmission. You're just tuning for just raw power, raw speed. You want the car to break loose pretty much as soon as you hit the gas and stay loose. So you always want to be at the top end of your RPMs. And then for lock lock acceleration for the rear diff, we went fully locked. For lock deceleration, which is going to be your off throttle acceleration, we went fully locked. We don't want the car to straighten up really at all. And preload I increased a little bit just to give it a little bit more locking ability. Whenever you press that throttle, you'll really feel it just kind of kick into gear. So the higher that is, the more abrupt it will be. But if you go too high, it'll fling your car around, flick your car around a little too much. So play with that. You know, you can do a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on how sideways you want to be, how fast you want to get sideways. All right, guys. So I'm here at the dockyard. Whenever you're first getting into drifting, learning how to drift, you kind of want to go into a big open area where you don't have a lot of obstacles, where you can practice just rotating and keeping the car sideways in one motion. So just doing like a giant donut. But all right, I'm gonna get into how to initiate the drift, different little tips and tricks that I have, throttle control. It's all important. For this, I have my wheel set up to 900-degree steering rotation, just so it's 1-to-1 with a real-life car. And I would say put your force feedback as high as comfortably possible, because you want the wheel to be pretty direct, mimic what the car is doing pretty accurately. All right. So one thing I wanna say before we get into the tutorial itself is you never really want to go below 40% throttle. As you can see, 40% puts me right in my power band, gives me a little bit of boost. Anything below that, I got no boost, no extra torque to help kind of guide me, keep me sideways, keep those wheels broke loose throughout the corner. Another thing is, when the car whenever you initiate your drift and squeeze the throttle, you're going to want to squeeze it. You want to have smooth movement. That will help you to not make the car unstable, unsteady, put too much weight on the wrong end of the vehicle. As soon as you release the throttle, your nose is going to dive. You're going to get tons of grip on the front wheels, and it's going to want to jerk the opposite direction. So we're going to go quickly. We're going to initiate a drift. We're going to do a donut. And the first thing that you're going to want to do when learning how to drift is just maintain a donut. Maintain a circle. So now we're going to go ahead and do a donut drift. We're just going to maintain a circle. Once we get that down, then we will initiate into like a figure 8 pattern. And after you get the figure 8 pattern, then I would say kind of set up yourself a course. Set up like a little course that you can drive on. Figure out the limits of the car, what gears you need to be for certain speed corners, so on and so forth. So we're kind of just squeezing the throttle pedal, being real gentle, trying not to release too much pressure at once. Kind of maintaining like an 80%, 90%, dipping to about 40% if we get too much angle. But anytime the car is gaining angle, release the wheel. Let it do its own thing. Let the car get sideways, because it's just riding on the track the front wheels are going. Once you've got the donut down, you're going to go into doing a figure 8 pattern. And this will help you to practice transitioning. Letting off the throttle. In between each transition. Not too abruptly. And getting back on the throttle as soon as the car straightens out. Once you do this a few times and are comfortable with it, then I recommend creating yourself a little course to go practice on. I like to stay in the dockyard and like to do this little route here I'm about to show you. Just be a nice little practice spot before you get into like the technical stages. Releasing the throttle a little bit there for the transition. Little bits of gas right here to kind of keep it forward. More throttle, more angle. Less throttle, more grip. Making sure to take advantage of weight transfer whenever you can. And that'll be all for the video today, guys. I hope it helps. If you guys have any more questions or comments, let me know down in the comment section below. It really helps out a lot. It helps me give me like a guide on what you guys want to see, and really how I can help you guys, what tutorials you guys want to see. And I really appreciate all the support I've gotten this far. Please leave a like and comment. It means the world. Thank you. Till next time.